if that would work.
Oh, okay. Okay, we can do that. I'm just trying to just look at the list of participants. Okay. Yeah. Sairam, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome back to the weekly spiritual discourse. We are so glad to have Brahmacharni Sister Chaitanya Nandana back with us. As many of you are aware, Sister Chaitanya Nandana was with us and shared a lot of knowledge a few weeks ago. And she has graciously accepted to come back one more time to ensure that, she could close out and complete, the sessions and the topic she had started with in the first session. Without taking much more time, I would request Sister Chaitanya Nandana to, take over. And a request from a couple of people was to see if you could slightly give a high-level recap of what we had discussed last time, so that there'll be a continuity for people who are just joining this time, and they'll be able to understand the context and the flow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, if maybe a few people could switch on their videos, because it is difficult to. It'll be nice to see, a couple of faces at least. So anybody who is happy to just switch on. So all I see is black. That'll be nice. Yeah, that'll be okay. So I'll start with the Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha Om Shri Sai Satchitananda Vishwarupaya Namaha Om Shri Sai Satchitananda Vishwarupaya Namaha Om Shri Sai Satchitananda Vishwarupaya Namaha Om. So we had seen the topic of Purushartha. I had started last time to explain what the vision of the Vedic scriptures is. And the first topic that is discussed is Purushartha. So Purushartha means what is desired by every human being. Purushena artyate iti Purushartha. So everyone in this world, every human being is endowed with the faculty of choice. So this Purushartha, or the pursuits for every human being, is dependent on your faculty of choice. You can choose what you want to do in your life. We all know this. But this choice to do things in our life, our rishis have classified under 4 big major categories. And all of our pursuits actually fit into one of these categories. That is what we were seeing last time. And these are common ends for every human being, as I said. What we all seek may differ from person to person, but that we seek is common to all. We are all seekers. For some people, money is the factor. They want money in their life. So they go after money, business, all of that. That is one type of seeking. Other people may go for job satisfaction. That is also part of seeking. Other people may want to help others. Again, another type of seeking, charity, service, that is all still put under the broad title of this Purushartha. So the first Purushartha we saw, just to recap, is known as Artha, or the urge to survive, the need to feel secure, the need to feel safe. And we manifest this urge in all aspects of our life. The clothes, by wearing clothes, shelter, seeking shelter, even wearing seat belts in the car. It is what? We want to be safe. As human beings, I want to be safe. Nowadays, wearing masks in public, that is because I want to be safe from COVID. So that is also a need for security. I don't want to get hurt. That is, it shows this artha pursuit that is in all human beings. Artha can also mean, as I said, anything that boosts your ego. So qualifications become a form of artha. And money definitely is number one form of artha. Many times we see artha translated as money. So money is not the only security that our scriptures talk about. Artha is also in the form of relationships. Having people, certain people in my life also makes me secure. Because if I'm not without those people, I feel insecure. And certain things in my life also give me a sense of security. And this is very common amongst every person, independent of culture, country, language, religion. Every human being has this need. It's an urge for artha. So I feel secure when I have a family around me, or I have children, or I have money, if I have name, if I have qualifications, if I have certain position and power in society, also gives me security. Nothing wrong with it. Shastra is just pointing out that this is one of the urges, one of the needs of human being. I also have, as we saw last time, a need for future security. So security is not just for this present. I save up money for future security because I'm concerned what is going to happen in future. Medical insurance, this insurance is what? To offset any kind of thing that could happen in future. So I am secure if I have insurance, if I have all of this, I feel secure. So this is the first pursuit that the Shastra gives. Artha, it is called Artha, or the pursuit of security in life. Now, I have gained all the security. What do I do with the security? So this leads on to the second pursuit. It is very connected with Artha. The second pursuit is Kama, or pleasure. I use my securities, whatever I have gained in life, because I want to experience pleasures. Pleasures come in all different shapes and forms. Again, nothing wrong with pleasures. It just, Shastra is pointing out, this is one of our main pursuits in life. The need for pleasure is there. Otherwise, life cannot go on. Unless I experience certain pleasures in life, it is very difficult to live through life. So pleasure, money is spent for going on holidays, that's form of a pleasure, going out for dinners, going to concerts, going to sports games. All of this is expression of my need for pleasure. So I love pleasure. This karma keeps me going. It gives us a kick. And Shastra puts these pleasures under two heads. That instinctive pleasure, which we have, which is sense pleasure, it's instinct. The instinctive pleasure we share with animals as well. So there's not any difference between animals and us on that level. But we also, what differentiates us? We have subjective pleasures, which are based on our likes and dislikes, or vasanas. You may have heard the word vasana. These vasanas come with every human being, and we don't say only from this janma. These vasanas are carried from past lives also. Because why am I inclined to a certain pursuit and I don't like other things? How come I like certain things in my life and I dislike other things? This other human beings may like the things I dislike, and I like the things they dislike. So it is all based, individual subjective values based on your own likes and dislikes, which are like they're stored in each human being in potential form, and they can manifest anytime. So life, Shastra says, is dealing with situations based on my subjective values, which is desirable situations, things that bring me pleasure. I love these situations because we love to have situations that bring us pleasure. But sometimes I have to face undesirable situations which are painful that I want to avoid. So Shastra, our scriptures say there are actually two pursuits that we follow in life. Raga is that I want to gain something for my pleasure, gain something outside me, either a relationship or a situation or an object that I think will make me happy. It's based on my happiness, actually. Everything is based on our happiness. We want that thing because the thinking is, if I get that, I will feel happy, I will feel content, I will feel satisfied. So either I gain something for happiness, or if I already have an object or I have something with me, I want to retain it. So this gaining or retaining for my happiness is put under the title of raga or likes. I have these certain likes to gain and retain because I feel if I have these things, it will make me happy. This is what Bhagavan Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. He brings this topic up a lot. The theme of the Bhagavad Gita is this actually. But there's another type of pursuit also I have, which is what? I'd run away from things. I avoid things as well because undesirable objects and situations and people I don't want to be near. So another pursuit is that I avoid such situations, avoid those people because they are bringing up unhappinesses in me. So I run away from things that bring me unhappiness and sorrow, or I avoid things that bring me unhappiness and sorrow. Another scenario is that I already have something and that thing is giving me sorrow. So I want to get rid of something that I already possess that is an object of my unhappiness, sorrow. So these are all karma. Karma is put under these categories in our Shastra. Very easily put, raga and dvesha. These are the two headings that Krishna talks about. Raga is gaining and retaining things that I feel will make me happy. Dvesha means avoiding, getting rid of things that will make me unhappy. So what is it I really, really want? I want to be happy. If you see, whole of life is I want to be happy, not just 5 minutes a day or 1 year in a lifetime. I want to be happy 24/7. Every human being has this urge to be happy. And that is what we're going to examine in our fourth pursuit. So Kama and Artha we saw last time. We also had talked about dharma, because dharma is also a pursuit that we have. Dharma is the universal values that govern my pursuit of Artha and Kama. This universal values are what I will just say what Swami says about dharma. I'm just trying to remember what he said. He says that dharma is the foundation. It is the foundation for our life. That is why he talks about these human values all the time. Satya, dharma, shanti, prema, ahimsa. Why does Swami bring in these values for our living? It is because dharma forms the foundation for our other pursuits in life. A pursuit of artha kama should be governed by universal values. I should not transgress universal values to get what I want. That is the main thing that Shastra says. Because if I hurt people and disturb things to get what I want, what happens? Shastra says that you will reap the consequences of your actions in a twofold form. It is karma. Karma is the result of actions that I get, manifests in a twofold form. One is punya, in the form of pleasant results that will come into my life. When anything pleasant or something very, very happy happens in my life, it is called punya palam, the result of punya, the result of this a very, very positive result. It is called punya. Or if something unpleasant happens in my life, Shastra says it is called papa. That is sometimes translated as sin, but we don't call it sin. So these are the two type of results that all human beings get. Now, if I live in accordance with dharma, what the Shastra scriptures say is that you create punya, you create this pleasant results, the ability for pleasant results to manifest for you in future. So that is why dharma becomes an important pursuit. Swami says that dharma is the cornerstone of spiritual life. Activity, karma, is the practice of dharma. The Upanishads, he said, that give us guidance on what is to be done and what is to be avoided on the spiritual journey. But they warn us that dharma should not be neglected. It is very different from the other two pursuits. The other two pursuits are for my own pleasure, for my own happiness. Dharma takes into account other people's needs as well. That's the beauty of it. What do other people also feel? They also don't want to get hurt. Every human being in this planet does not want to get hurt. Just as I do not want to get hurt, physically or mentally, emotionally, other people also don't want to get hurt. And this is what governs our interactions in this world. We saw this. Human beings have a choice to practice dharma in their life. We can choose to go opposite against dharma. But as I said, the scripture says, if you go against dharma, you incur a result of action which will manifest as unpleasant situation for you in your future. Now, do we want to incur such a result? If we choose, nobody will want unpleasant, unhappy situations in their life in future. So that is why our Swami laid so much emphasis on this universal values. If you live a life of values, you offset the unpleasantness in your life. You might not gain like others. You may not gain everything in this world. You may not reach the top pinnacle of all we term as society terms as success by living an ethical life. But in Shastra, a successful life is considered an ethical life. That is the difference. Society's idea of success and our scripture's idea of success is very, very different. Swami always used to say, it is more important that you're a good person rather than a great person. That is what he was talking about. It is more important that you follow a good lifestyle, ethical lifestyle, rather than become great by compromising dharma. Of course, you can become great by living dharma as well. That is a different thing. So dharma, we saw, are certain standards or norms which control our actions in life. Our actions are cannot just be impulsive and governed by our likes and dislikes. This is going to lead to all mess in the world. If everybody lives according to their wish, how they want, then the whole world will be a mess. There will be no law, there will be no rules. So that is why it's an unseen law. And our scriptures say this unseen law called dharma is the very manifestation of Bhagavan for us. It is not different from Bhagavan. He is not somewhere sitting in heaven and giving mandates. Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt do this. It is not that type of thing, giving mandates. Dharma is the very form of Bhagavan, God for us. That is our Vedic view. He manifests in the form of dharma. So when you live a life, ethical life, follow this dharma, the scriptures say that you are in harmony with Ishvara, harmony with Swami. That is why dharma becomes a very, very important pursuit, something you have to choose to live your life with. It is not that automatically it happens. It is based on your choice, based on the golden rule, do unto others as you wish others to do unto you. So this we saw also last time. Dharma is the capacity to make informed choice in life. So Swami has said, in a Satya Sai Speaks, he said, it can be seen that even among the four girls, dharma has been placed first and foremost. What he means is that we never say artha kama dharma. Dharma comes first. Dharma artha kama moksha. In the four girls, dharma is always put first. And Swami says, the state to be earned by the first three achievements, again, is moksha, which is mentioned the last. The person who seeks riches and the fulfillment of desires along the path laid down by dharma can alone win victory. This way is where liberation lies, which gives people the highest bliss. This is what Swami has said in his Satya Sai Speaks. And this is exactly what the Veda and also the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan discusses here. Also, when we live dharma, Shastra talks about growth in emotionally, because there are two types of growths, right? There is one physical growth, which happens naturally. I don't have to force myself to grow physically. We also saw that last time. Everything in this world grows naturally due to some laws. Everything changes and grows. And I don't have any free will involved in that growth. But there is a free will involved in emotional maturity, emotional growth. And living ethically as a human being is to fully be human. This is what our scriptures say. We are animals otherwise if we don't choose dharma in our life and follow the path of this value-filled path in our life. And why is it important, this dharma? As Swami has said, I just quoted Swami, he said, if you want the final pursuit, which is mentioned in the Shastra, which we didn't have time to discuss last time, the final pursuit is called moksha, or liberation, total freedom. And the fourth pursuit is dependent on how you live your life throughout your life. So this fourth pursuit is moksha, freedom. And freedom from what? When you say freedom, you'll ask the question, freedom from what? It is freedom from everything you don't want, freedom from all seeking, freedom from all sorrow. It is also seen as freedom from any kind of emotional dependence on people and things outside for your happiness. So I'm not dependent on anything external. If a person is there in my life, I'm happy. If they are not there, I still remain happy. If a situation is there in my life that gives me great joy, I'm very happy. If that situation goes, I don't become unhappy. So it is total independence from external things for my happiness. This is what is called moksha. And moksha, the scriptures say, is a natural urge. It is very natural for a human being to want to be happy. Just like you have the natural urge for hunger. I mean, the hunger urge, you don't create. You get hungry because it is natural. You get thirsty because nature, it is urge that is there. When you're thirsty, you take a drink. When you're hungry, you eat food. So Bhagavan has given all the solutions in our creation for fulfilling the natural urge. But what is the solution for this natural urge of happiness? That is where our Upanishads say, the Upanishads, which is the end of, end source, the end part, portion of the Vedas, or Vedanta is the same as the Upanishad. What do they say? For happiness, what is the solution? It is yourself alone. You don't need anybody but yourself to be happy. You need nothing from outside to fulfill you. You need nobody from outside to make you feel full and satisfied. Whether the absence, or as I said, presence or absence of anything does not disturb your joy and your happiness. So moksha is a permanent fulfillment, being comfortable with whatever you are, however much you have, and whatever happens. That is what is called liberation in our Shastra. You may have heard it as freedom from the cycle of birth and death, but we cannot really understand that properly. What do we know about what happens after death? We don't really know. So this is the understanding. It is a freedom to be discovered here and now, very much while you're living. That is what our scriptures say. And we have moments of moksha. It is not something that is unrecognizable by our experience. We all have experienced moments of moksha when the mind totally resolves and the happy person comes out. So in those moments, what happens when I watch a beautiful sunset, then there's no mind, there's no problems, nothing can disturb my peace. And I feel totally satisfied with myself in that moment. That is called moksha. But that feeling doesn't last very long. That is the only problem. We cannot retain that feeling throughout our 24/7. We cannot retain that feeling day-to-day basis. I feel moments of moksha when I hear beautiful music, when I'm engrossed in a concert, for instance, and I just absorbed by the music, the mind is no longer there. So all of these feelings, also Swami, also had the ability to give people that experience as well of moksha. When, you have interaction with him or you're in his presence, then his mind totally resolves, and he's able, that's why people love to be, he was like a magnet, drew millions, because he had this ability to give these moments of moksha, your true nature. He was able to show to those who had that opportunity. So this moksha means that you seek no change in you. That is very important to understand. There is no change you want to seek in you. So you don't want to be different than what you are. This wanting to be different uh, to what you are is why you pursue other things in life. But if you understand, moksha is that you are already adequate, you are already complete, you already are everything you seek. It is only a person who thinks they're inadequate, or they feel they need something, or they feel incomplete, that seeks. So everybody has that feeling. I don't feel good as I am. I have to become something else. I have to become different. I have to change myself in order to become okay. Okay. So this is the idea behind moksha. We don't see this seeking in animals, right? A cow doesn't cry, I'm not able to produce as much milk as my neighboring cow. We don't see that. We don't see a horse. We don't see a dog pining to be a horse, or a mouse trying to fly like a bird. It is only in the human being that there is this need for change, to be different than what I am. And that is where the problem that our Shastra says, the main problem lies, because moksha is totally the opposite of that. It is not seeking any change in yourself. It is recognizing yourself as a meaning. Satchitananda, Swami used to say a lot. Existence, limitlessness, and limitless joy. Consciousness and limitless joy is your nature. So all the struggles in life that we do, all the urge, it manifests the urge to become complete. Everything we do manifests this urge to become complete. So this in our Shastra is what is called, you may have heard the word, this is called samsara. Samsara, samyak sarati iti samsaraha. Samsara means I keep on changing myself. I keep on changing people. I try and change people. I try and change situations, manipulate the whole world to feel happy. This is samsara. So this life of constantly becoming, either changing my partners, my jobs, moving houses, this is what I do whole throughout my life, what we all do throughout the life. So this is exactly the fourth pursuit that Shastra talks about, is moksha. And through all the other pursuits, through artha, through dharma, through kama, what the Shastra says is, what I really seek is only this one, this final thing. I'm not really looking for security. I'm not really trying to fulfill pleasure. What do I want? What you really want, what you really seek through all of those pursuits is only one thing, and that is to be happy. To be happy is all that you want. So you gain of what you will think, what you think will make you happy may also make you unhappy. We don't know that. What you think, you try and gain something, what you think will make you happy has also the potential to make you unhappy. Oscar Wilde, he was a great playwright. He said, very nice saying, in this world, there are only two tragedies. One is not getting what one wants. That is the first tragedy. One is not getting what one wants. And the second tragedy, he says, the other is getting it. So one is not getting what you want. The second tragedy is getting what you want. What does he mean by that? Because sometimes when I get what I want, it may not be the happiness I really expected from it. And this is the thing that we have to keep recognizing with desire fulfillment. I may not need to fulfill all my desires to feel happy. This is what our scriptures ask you to start questioning, that you may not need, maybe there's a state where I don't need to fulfill all my desires to make me happy. Maybe sorrow is not my nature at all anyway. How do I discover that happiness? Happiness is my nature. This is what the Vedas say. They have been saying from day one that happiness is your nature. So this inquiry starts at this point when you realize the limitations of all the pursuit, and moksha is discerned as the main pursuit in life through everything. There is a mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad which says, Pariksha lokan karma chitan brahmanah nirvedamayat nastyak kritakritena tadvijnanartham sagurumeva bigachet samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam. A very famous mantra in our Mundaka Upanishad, which talks about gaining this knowledge now. Moksha, or understanding what moksha really is. How do I gain this knowledge? How do I understand? This is where spiritual life really begins, spiritual journey. When I pariksha lokan means examining all the experiences that you have in life, everything until this moment, you look back and see, has it really given the satisfaction that you want? Has it really given you the happiness that you thought it would give you? Everything is so fleeting. It has come, it has gone. If you have fulfilled a desire that you held for a long time and you gained everything, you gained that thing that you wanted after working a lot, after sweating a lot, just giving in the term of finance, giving all your energy into a certain pursuit, and you've gained that. The question that our scriptures ask you to ask yourself is that, has it totally fulfilled you? Has it really given you the happiness that you thought you'd get? It may have done for a few days, for a year, even for some time, but it cannot fulfill you fully, and it has not fulfilled you fully. Why? Because immediately the second desire comes and I go after another thing. Another desire comes, I go after another thing. So whole life, I'm running after desire and fulfilling. Soon as one desire is fulfilled, another one rises. Now, this is the inquiry that our rishis say you have to do, every human being has to do by themselves. Do you really gain what you want from fulfilling your desire again and again? No. If we all look at our lives by desire fulfillment again and again, it does not make me totally happy all the time. And this is why Swami used to often say, have a ceiling on your desires. Don't let your desires take you for a ride. Don't let your senses take you for a ride, or your mind take you for a ride. See the limitations of all of this desire fulfillment in life. So everything in life will lack in one area or other. There will be money lack, or there could be partner lack, there could be knowledge lack, memory power lack, health lack, looks lack. That inadequacy will always be there in some area. This is the inquiry that we have to do that will help us to discern what we really, really want in life. Even pleasure, as we know, pleasure is also limited. It is never predictable because it doesn't last very long. The availability of the object or situation also has to be there for me to experience pleasure. And even if I have all of those things, if the object of pleasure is there and I've managed to gain it, then I have to have a proper frame of mind to enjoy it. There are so many rich people in this world, so many people who have so much, and you find them depressed. How do you explain that? They have everything the world wants. They have success, they have money, they have power. But we hear so many stories of such people in depression and being unhappy. Why? Because the proper frame of mind is not there to enjoy all the comforts they spent all their life gaining, which shows what? Happiness is not dependent on external objects or situations. If it was, we would be happy with what we have gained. It is not dependent. This is what our Shastra says, that everything, all these desires are like fire. If there's a word in Sanskrit, analaha, unquenchable. When one desire is neutralized, it's like the fire, the tongues of fire, they keep burning. Soon as one desire is quenched, it is like pouring ghee into the fire. Another flame comes up, and it just becomes a huge conflagration of fire. So once I realize, then What do I understand? That everything, atriptikaram, the first limitation of pleasure is given in the Shastra, atriptikaram, which means it does not fully satisfy you. Why? Because you get bored. Very easily you get bored with one thing and you start seeking for another thing. So atriptikaram, dukkha mishritvat, which means everything that is a source of pleasure for you has the seed also to give you sorrow. It has a potential to give you pain. Dukkha mishritvat. That is how this world is designed by the Lord. It is not something shocking. The world itself is designed in such a way that the object that will give you so much pleasure one moment can become a source of your pain in the next moment. So this is another inquiry that the Shastra asks you to do. It also, all these objects also are bandhakatvat, which means they are binding, they can lead to addiction. So once I experience some pleasure in life, I can get addicted to it. We see this with alcoholism and all sorts of addictions as well. And you feel without that thing, I cannot exist. So that is also a danger of fulfilling all the desires or going after your desires again and again. So the one who's the one who discerns all the limitations like this, who does the inquiry into their life experiences, sees the limitations and sees that freedom from all inadequacy and feeling of smallness and limitations is what they really want, then we become spiritual seeker. That is called a spiritual seeker. Mumukshu, the word is in Shastra, which means as one who desires freedom from these limitations. Such a person is the most mature human being. And real success in life, according to our Upanishads, is the discovery of yourself to be complete and without lack. That is moksha. However much you do achieve, gain in life, you will always remain inadequate until you discover that nothing outside can be a source of fulfillment for you. It has to be something which is already in you. And we've seen that happiness, we hear that all the time. What does it mean when we hear happiness lies within? This is exactly what our Shastra discusses. Happiness is with you all along. It is your very nature, and it is your life birthright. It is said in the Veda, it is every human being's birthright to discover that happiness for themselves. That is the purpose of life here. It is not to be born, to live, to procreate, enjoy, and die off. That is not life. Swami has often said to us as well, there is a purpose to our life. It is discovering, and he has talked about the relationship with God. It's very important to build this relationship with Ishvara first. But why? The relationship with Ishvara should culminate in the discovery that he and I are one. That is real life, to discover that there is no difference between Swami and me. Whatever Swami has said so many times in his discourses, I know I'm God. The only difference between you and I is what? You don't know you're God. It is a question of ignorance. I know I'm God, he said. You don't know you're God. That is the only difference. Once you know you're God, you know you are Swami. Tattvamasi. That is what he's saying. In Upanishad, that is that thou art, that you are. So that is what the discovery of moksha is. And how do I gain? Now the question comes, how do I gain this moksha? I want this moksha. I've discovered that this is what I'm really seeking in life, to be happy and to be free from sorrow. How do I gain it? Well, we've discussed the first type of gain in life, which is the usual gain that we know. This is the only gain that we know so far, which is a gain of something not with me right now, the gain of something outside me, which is a situation, person, or object. That is how we all live our life, by gaining things outside ourselves. And any gain of something outside yourself, our scriptures say, is karma phala, or result of action. So you do an action to gain a result. And that result of action is called karma phala, or fruit of action. But what is the nature of fruit? Nature of fruit is perishable. It is going to only last for, if you leave a fruit for a length of time, what happens? It goes moldy and it dies off, right? Exactly like karma phalam, the result of action is also perishable. It comes with a big stamp, perishable. It starts in time, you experience the karma phalam, the result in time, and it vanishes in time. So anything outside you that you gain in time, the scriptures say is going to leave in time as well. Nothing is permanent outside. And everything we try for in life fits in this first category. This first category of gain of something outside you. But our scriptures talk about a different type of gain, and that is the gain of something already with you. This is the gain of something already with you. You think it is only, you think the object is away from you, you think the solution is away from you, but it is with you all along. And we have experience of this type of gain in our day-to-day life. I'll give you a couple of examples. My guru, Swami Dayananda, Vedanta Guru, he used to say, this man is sitting and he's got his reading glasses on top of his head. And he's asking his wife, where are my specs? Where are my specs? He's looking all over the room for his specs. And, she is in a bad mood with him. So she doesn't tell him. She just lets him suffer looking for his specs. His kid comes in and says, oh, Dad, your specs are right there on your head. Now, what is this type of gain? He's been searching all over for his specs. Somebody comes and points out, hey, they're on your head. That means he already had the specs with him. It was only a question of ignorance. It was only a question, wrong notion, that the specs are away from him. He was searching all over for what he already had with him. Like also, sometimes we are looking for our keys everywhere. We look for our car keys all over the place. And suddenly I put my hand in the pocket and I thought I had looked there and I find the car keys with me all along. But I've been searching all over for something I had with me all along. So this is the second type of gain that our scriptures discuss, which is the gain of the already gained. It is the possessor of the keys wants to become the possessor of the keys, right? If you listen to that, the possessor of the keys wants to become the possessor of the keys. And here, what a life is, what is our life? The possessor of happiness wants to become the possessor of happiness. The possessor of happiness already wants to become the possessor of happiness. And this is because of ignorance. Ignorance is the distance. Ignorance is the distance that divides me from knowing that I'm already everything I seek to be in life. I'm already everything I want to possess in my life. And because of the ignorance, what happens? The ignorance-born conclusion is there in my mind as well. What is the ignorance-born conclusion? First of all, you're ignorant that you are the possessor of happiness. Then the ignorance-born conclusion is that I am not the possessor of happiness. I have to become the possessor of happiness. And that is how we live our lives. We spend our whole life seeking to become happy through all the pursuits that we've examined. We just spend all our time, our energy, our money, becoming happy to become happy. And Shastra says there is actually no distance between what you seek. There is zero distance between what you really seek and what you already are. This discovery is moksha. And the distance is only created by ignorance, self-ignorance. Because self is your nature, self-atma that Swami used to talk about. Atma, the self, is the nature, the swarupa, ananda swarupa, the swarupa, the nature of limitless joy. And that is the ananda that you seek in life. So moksha is the gain of this limitlessness, the discovery of yourself to be already free, the discovery of yourself to be already the happiness that you want so much from this external world and which has evaded you all your life. You have not been able to get, only moments, glimpses you've got, but you've not been able to get the full happiness all the time, with all the places, everywhere, with everyone. So Swami has said about moksha, he said that in his Divine Discourse in 1995, he said the term moksha is generally understood as referring to the means that one reaches God, but one can be in, God or heaven, but one can be in heaven only for a period earned by one's meritorious deeds, and at the end will have to be reborn again. So heaven is not moksha. Many people think heaven going is moksha. Swami has said it is not moksha. The moksha in the true sense refers to a state in which nothing is lacking and there is no incoming or outgoing. It is a state without name and form, not specific place to go. It is the attainment of unity with divinity. So real unity with divinity is what is moksha. And this is what we call merger. Sometimes it's called merging with Bhagavan, or being one with Bhagavan. So this is the fourth pursuit. And the discovery of this is what the teaching of the Shastra reveals. And through a tradition, through a particular way of unfolding the verses of the Upanishad, unfolding the verses of Bhagavad Gita, one is able to transmit this knowledge and give the freedom to this others who listen and who practice the lifestyle that is talked about by Swami and also by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. That is a beautiful book. I urge you to all look at even Swami's discourses on Bhagavad Gita, if you look at the chapter, but an in-depth study of the Gita and the verses will give you a manual for your life, will show you how you prepare yourself, how you live your life in order to discover this ultimate truth, which is moksha, liberation, freedom from all limitation. So with that, I finished the topic of Purushartha, which I did not complete in the last talk. And Bhushanji, if anybody would like questions, or Sunilji, you can, open out for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Nandana ji. It was a very interesting conversation. In fact, I had one question myself, and this might sound very antithetical, or it might come out wrong, but the thing is, right, when you spoke about people finding happiness, people finding the truth, right, it is always from a point of perspective, right, that what does truth mean to that person, right, and how do we define that truth, right? Truth to what? Because say if you take for example, right, if I take this young kids who are brainwashed in madrasas, or even in some of our things, right, the only truth they know is what they have been taught from their childhood. They don't know anything right from wrong other than what has been taught to them, and they are following the dharma as taught to them. However, when we see from a third person perspective, that sounds adharma to us. How do we balance that view as to what the truth actually means, truth as to what we have learned, or how, you know where I'm going, right? So I just hope you can clear that fuzziness on my head. I always get wrapped up in these thoughts.
Yeah, so truth is, there is only one truth. There's not 100 truths. Otherwise, it would not be called truth. So truth, we have to understand the word truth. Satyam, it is Satyam. There is only one Satyam that our Shastra talks about. There's only one truth. But what you're discussing is, I think, people, it's a point of view. So madrasas and places like that, with their brainwashed to thinking in a certain direction, that is not a truth. As you're saying, it is not the truth, because it goes against universal values. So anything that goes against universal values, if you're trained to kill and murder other people, what do? The fundamental value of dharma, you're already transgressing. So you cannot even compare that with the truth. That
no, the reason what, sister, sorry, the point I was trying to make is, right, when I learn the truth, right, so what my knowledge is based on what my gurus teach me. It is based on what I'm taught and the environment I'm coming from. So there is a prejudice which happens, right, unless we are in a pure sattvic state. That doesn't happen, right? We are always formed by our surroundings. We are taught by our gurus. So, my truth is based on what my gurus taught me and what I have learned around from my surroundings. So that's where I'm trying to balance, right? What you say is absolutely right. I mean, there is only one truth, but the perspective depends on what I'm taught and how I'm brought up and how the environment in which I grow.
Yeah, so if any perspective is right, as long as, because dharma, again, the life is governed by dharma, and that is not universal value. Means universal, it is the value that most, I would, again, if you go against dharma, then you have again transgressed something universal. Universal meaning your chittam, your mind has been so brainwashed, been covered for what your conscience really says, which is, thou shalt not do to others what you don't wish others to do unto you. That is a universal law. And most humanity functions on this universal law, which is called the golden rule. I mean, as I said in the, I think, previous session also, if you look in Wikipedia under golden rule, you'll see in every scripture, including, all Islam, Christianity, even tribal scriptures, they will have this golden rule in their own language, universal law. So there is a truth, there is a one truth that governs all humanity's interactions. If I transgress that law, our Shastra obviously says that you will get this result. And like, your question is why, our truth is the only truth. Well, it is based on, again, this universal dharma. And if I follow a certain way of life, then my guru becomes pramana, means of knowledge. So Veda becomes means of knowledge to reveal a way of life to us. And other people's way of lives may differ. They may call it differently as well. But if they follow the same value system given in the Vedas, it is not different from us. It doesn't, even other religions have some religions have similar value systems as well. If they don't transgress ethics, then definitely we say also that is Vedic lifestyle. So I'm not really convinced by this different truths argument, because I would say it is different points of view that people have, but there is only one truth, and that truth is universally there in the form of values. That's why Swami calls them human values, right? He doesn't call them Indian values. He doesn't call them American values. He says human values. If you're a human, then these values become valuable to you. Why? Because there is a growth envisaged in our scriptures, emotional maturity, emotional growth, that only comes by living this ethical values. So I'm not sure whether I've answered your doubt. I don't think it is fully answered. But
it was just a perspective, and I was just trying to understand, how do I look
Can
at it
I
from a
ask
different
a question?
perspective?
I have a question.
yes.
Yeah.
Sairam, Sister Nandana, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can I talk?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I have a question, and I don't know, if you are Om Shanti Brahmakumari, but I have my brother's children, both the girls are brahmacharis, Om Shanti Brahmakumaris. Now, I have a question that still bothers me is that I don't know, this is their truth, that we all have to eat what they cook, but they will not eat even if their mother cooks. And I mean, it is that they think they are so pure that they can serve others, but even their own mother gives food with pure heart, they cannot accept. So what kind of truth is that for, if you know Om Shanti Brahma Kumaris?
I don't know Om Shanti Brahmakumaris. I'm not a
Okay.
Brahmakumari.
Yeah.
But they have their own, I would say, different point. That's why the word truth, I wouldn't say in these. It is a point of view. It is a way of life for them. And that is the way of their interpretations of the scripture or interpretation of their guru's teachings. So that is a way that people follow. But for us, what is the means of knowledge? What ours is the original source. Meaning, if you take Swami as pramana, take Satya Sai Baba as pramana, what has he said all his life? Everything comes from the Veda. He has emphasized this Vedic lifestyle. From day one, he has talked about the Veda. And he has given a certain lifestyle and a certain teachings, which none of them contradict what the Veda says. So everyone can have their own ways of living. I wouldn't say their own truth. That is the way of living. But for us, the way of life is from Veda. Let us keep this word truth aside, because truth takes a lot of unfoldment as well. And we have a word in Sanskrit for the truth, and that's a whole new class, because for us, truth is understood very differently. We would say there's different ways of life. Okay, everybody has a right to live the way they feel is correct. But when it transgresses, what we say is, if their way of life transgresses human values and hurts others or causes injury, and it's a violent way of life or a harmful way of life, then definitely it is not the correct way of life. That is the only difference, because dharma, for us, dharma rules the show. Dharma, which is ethical values, ethical standards, is what we go by. So maybe there is something in this Brahmakumari philosophy that says that there is some truth also to it, in the way, I wouldn't say mother's cooking, but in the Shastra, it is said very clearly that the subtle part of food goes to form your thoughts. So one has to be very careful who cooks, what one eats, and what kind of food and everything is eaten as well. It is said in the Shastra, and I don't know where the philosophy comes that the mother, I think it may stem from the idea that if you eat your mother's cooking, you become very attached to family. You become very attached.
Not just the mother, anybody. They won't eat from anybody's hands unless it's a Brahmakumari.
Yeah, so it could be to do with the thoughts that go into the food. You know, they may be that is a thinking that is prevalent in some spiritual organizations, where if other people cook and they are not initiated into certain practices, that some food could get polluted, and then the mind gets polluted. That is
I just refuse to eat from their hands. Then I said, when I'm cooking with pure heart and serving you, if you cannot accept, and what kind of purity is that in you that I have to accept? And I think that is like one-sided, that didn't fit with Swami's teachings to me. Anybody can be pure when they are serving and giving, and anybody can accept. But of course, I know that Swami gave that story, where, somebody with impure thoughts served, and this Rishi becomes impure because of that. But when we see somebody with pure heart serving you, how can you not accept? So anyway, that was my question.
Choice. You can't control we cannot control what other people choose to do, but you can also, if we are put in the same situation where we feel some food is impure or something, Swami has given the mantra, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmevatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina, which purifies the food, right? If you have he's given, that is why we chant in the Western canteen, Indian canteen, North Indian canteen in Puttaparthi. This mantra is chanted before service begins of any of the food of any of the meals.
We all do. And they also do, but they won't eat. That's it. That's the bottom line. So, somebody else can ask now. Thank you.
Their choice. And that is another value that that our scriptures also bring up. We let people have their choice, whatever they want to do, but we don't have to live the way they live. So your choice is not to take food from them. That is fine. So that is called kshantihi. When I let people be what they are, let them have their own views. It may be erroneous, but I give them the freedom to be who they are. Because once I give people freedom to be who they are, then I am free inside, right?
Exactly. That's what I do.
Let people live the way they want. They may be wrong, but that is the way they have thought. But I will be, free inside and not have that burden of, that. So, yes. Any more questions?
Thank you, Nandanaji. Thank you so much. We would love to have you again. We will start bhajans in a minute. Everybody just stay back and we will start just in a minute.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Right on.